I thought I was making the right decision. After all, everyone told me it would be safer, easier, more comfortable. But the moment the door shut behind me in that nursing home, I felt something break inside. What no one tells you is that comfort comes at a price. And sometimes, it's not just money, it's freedom, dignity, even your will to keep going. In this video, I'll share the 6 hardest truths I learned after moving into a nursing home. If you're considering it, or know someone who is, please watch this to the end. It may change everything. My name is Harold. I'm 78 years old. Before I moved into the nursing home, I lived in the house I built with my own 2 hands, back in 1971. It wasn't big, but every piece of wood, every hinge on every door, I knew by heart. My wife, Martha, and I raised our children there. We planted tulips in the front yard every spring. We grew old together under that roof. When Martha passed, the house felt empty. And quiet. Too quiet. The kids started visiting less often. I couldn't keep up with the yard work. My knees hurt more, and I began to forget things. Small things at first. Where I put my glasses. Whether I'd turned the stove off. Then I fell in the shower, and everything changed. The doctor said I was lucky. A cracked rib is better than a broken hip, he told me. But to my children, it was a warning. A sign that I shouldn't live alone anymore. They started whispering about options. Assisted living. A retirement home. A few weeks later, I found myself in the back seat of my daughter's car, with 3 suitcases and a trembling heart. I had no idea that the next 6 months would be the most difficult and revealing period of my life. Truth number 1. You lose control of your own time. It's the first thing that disappears, and it happens faster than you'd expect. At home, I woke up when I wanted. I had toast or eggs depending on how I felt. I read the newspaper in my worn recliner and listened to the birds outside my kitchen window. I could sit in silence or call an old friend just to talk. In the nursing home, your schedule is no longer yours. Breakfast at 7:30. Medication at 8. Group therapy at 9. Lunch at 11:45, whether you're hungry or not. Lights out by 9, even if your mind is still wide awake. They say routine is good for the elderly. Maybe it is, for some. But what no one prepares you for is the slow erasure of your ability to choose. The small freedoms that make you feel like yourself, when to take a walk, when to shower, when to rest, are replaced with rules designed for convenience, not dignity. I remember one morning waking up early, feeling good, wanting to go for a stroll outside. But the hallway doors were locked. Too early, the nurse said. I wasn't allowed outside without supervision, even just to breathe the morning air. That was the day I realized I no longer decided how to live my day. Truth number 2. Loneliness still exists, even in a room full of people. You think, at first, that a nursing home will be more social. All those people. All those conversations waiting to happen. But the truth is far more complicated. In the dining hall, people sat together, but most of them didn't speak. Some stared into their food, others talked only about medications or what their doctor said that week. The TV in the corner was always on, but no one really watched it. It just filled the silence. You'd think loneliness means being alone. But there's a different kind of loneliness, being surrounded by others, yet feeling invisible. There were days when I'd say, "Good morning," to 5 people and get no response. Not because they were rude, but because they didn't hear me, or didn't recognize me, or maybe they were just lost in their own sadness. And then there's the emotional loneliness. Not being able to talk about your memories. Not having someone who understands the version of you from 50 years ago. Not hearing your name said the way your spouse used to say it. I missed my wife more in that place than ever before. And I missed myself, the man I used to be when I was with her. Truth number 3. You begin to feel like a patient, not a person. This was the hardest truth for me. At first, I tried to stay positive. I told myself, they're professionals. They're here to help. And most of them were kind, don't get me wrong. But the system doesn't treat you like Harold. It treats you like room 212. Like the man with arthritis and high blood pressure. Like the guy who needs assistance to get in and out of bed. You stop being seen for who you are, your life, your history, your sense of humor. You become a list of medications and risk factors. One day, I overheard a nurse refer to me as the confused one from the West Wing. I hadn't been confused. I'd simply asked if we could change the channel. Another time, they brought me the wrong lunch 3 days in a row. When I spoke up, the young man sighed and said, "Just eat it, sir. It's all the same anyway." It wasn't malice. It was indifference. And over time, that wears you down. When the people around you stop seeing you, you start to forget who you are. Truth number 4. Your privacy is gone. At home, I had a small ritual. I would sit by the window each morning, coffee in hand, and read the comics before moving on to the front page. I liked to do it in silence, in my robe, with the curtains open to the sunlight. That ritual vanished the day I arrived. In a nursing home, privacy becomes a luxury you can't afford. Roommates are common. Bathrooms are shared. Nurses walk in without knocking, sometimes while you're changing, sometimes while you're trying to rest. Even personal phone calls aren't entirely private. You're always being monitored, and the sense of being watched never truly leaves. I once overheard a staff member discussing another resident's medical condition in the hallway. Loudly, casually, like it was weather talk. And I thought, is that what they say about me when I'm not around? Having your space invaded repeatedly, day after day, changes you. You become guarded. Or worse, you become numb to it. And when you stop expecting privacy, you start to lose the sense that your body and your boundaries are your own. Truth number 5. The system forgets that you're still alive. One of the hardest parts to explain to someone who hasn't lived it is this. There comes a moment in a nursing home when you realize the world no longer expects anything of you. Not your family. Not the staff. Sometimes, not even yourself. No one asks you for advice anymore. No one asks for your opinion on the news. No one asks, "What do you think we should do?" At first, it feels like rest. Like relief. But slowly, it starts to feel like a kind of death before death. It's as if, the moment you cross that threshold, society quietly closes a door behind you. Your role becomes one of passive existence, being fed, being washed, being kept stable. But not being included. Not being valued. Not being seen as someone who still has something to offer. One afternoon, my grandson came to visit. He's 16, sharp as a tack. I tried talking to him about history, about the time I worked on restoring antique radios, about the difference between vacuum tubes and transistors. He smiled politely, but I saw it in his eyes. He didn't care. And it wasn't just him. It was the staff too. Conversations were reduced to medication questions and checkboxes. In time, you start to wonder, if no one expects anything of me, why should I expect anything of myself? That is a dangerous place to be. Because hope, purpose, curiosity, they don't die with age. They die with neglect. Truth number 6. Leaving is much harder than entering. No one talks about this. They tell you that moving into a nursing home is a big decision. That it's emotional. That it's a transition. But they never mention how hard it is, almost impossible, really, to go back. Because once you've entered, the world assumes you've surrendered. Your home might be sold or rented out. Your bank accounts may be managed by someone else. Your independence may be legally limited through guardianship or medical directives. Your children adjust to the new arrangement. They visit on weekends, not daily. They move on. And when you say, "I think I want to go home," they say, "Dad, this is your home now." But it's not. You know it. Your soul knows it. And the worst part is that even if you regain your health, even if you mentally feel sharper, even if you prove you're capable, systems resist change. Your medical records mark you as high risk. Your insurance may not cover a move. Your family may not be willing to reverse the decision. The nursing home, while polite, will not facilitate your exit. It's not profitable. It's not convenient. I tried to get out once. I had made progress in physical therapy. I was eating well, socializing, feeling stronger. I told my daughter I wanted to go back to my old home, even for a few weeks. Her face dropped. "Dad, you don't understand how much easier things are now. We know you're safe here." I knew what she meant. and I knew the conversation was over. That's when I realized the hardest part about moving into a nursing home is that you may never be allowed to leave. A turning point, the moment I knew I had to speak. It was raining that day. I was sitting in the corner of the common room, staring out the window. A new resident had arrived the night before. He was tall, wiry, and silent. I hadn't seen him speak a single word to anyone all morning. Then, without a sound, he sat beside me. "I shouldn't have come here," he said. It was the first thing he said, and it broke something open in me. I turned to him, and we talked, for over an hour. About his wife, about his war years, about how nobody at the home knew he used to play jazz piano. Not even his children. That day changed everything for me. Because I realized I wasn't the only one who felt this way. And I knew I couldn't keep this to myself any longer. The 6 truths I just told you, they're not just mine. They belong to thousands of people across the country, across the world, who are living lives they didn't choose, in places they don't belong. What I wish I knew before I moved in. If I could go back and talk to myself before the move, I'd say this. Don't let one fall or one bad week decide the next 10 years of your life. Ask for help, yes. But don't surrender your freedom out of fear. Create a support system at home. Hire part-time help. Explore aging-in-place technologies. Talk to your doctor about physical therapy, nutrition, home safety modifications. Get honest with your kids about your needs, but also about your boundaries. Because once you're in the system, it's very hard to climb out. And most of all, listen to your instincts. If your heart says, "I'm not ready to give up my life," then don't. How to avoid these regrets. Practical steps for aging in place. Let me be clear, not every nursing home is bad. Some are excellent. Some save lives. But if you're still independent, if your mind is clear, and if your body still has fight in it, there are other paths. Here's what I learned too late, but you still have time to apply. Plan your home for aging, install grab bars, eliminate stairs where possible, improve lighting, buy a medical alert system. Build a local support network, family, neighbors, friends, church groups, senior volunteer services. Don't isolate yourself. Take your health seriously now. Exercise regularly, eat anti-inflammatory foods, manage stress, and get your hearing and vision checked yearly. Keep learning new skills. The brain thrives on challenge. Whether it's painting, gardening, or learning the basics of technology, keep growing. Speak openly with your children. Tell them what you want. Make your expectations clear while you're still fully capable. Have your legal documents in order. A living will, durable power of attorney, and advance directives give you a voice even in emergencies. You don't have to walk into a nursing home to be safe. You don't have to trade your soul for security. Shared stories. We're not alone in this. Before I left the nursing home, I began speaking to others. Quietly. In corners. In the garden. In the chapel room when no one else was around. And when people trusted me, they began to open up. Margaret, 84, had been a painter all her life. She told me she hadn't touched a brush in over 3 years because there's no space here where you can be messy. Her hands trembled as she said it. George, 76, had a pacemaker and a wit sharper than anyone I knew. But he whispered that no one had asked him a question about his life in over 2 months. "They only ask how I'm feeling," he said. "Not who I am." Eleanor, 91, had 3 children, all living within an hour of the facility. She hadn't had a visit in 5 weeks. And these were not isolated cases. They were echoes of a larger silence. People don't move into nursing homes because they want to. They do it because they're scared, or pressured, or too tired to resist. And once inside, they often lose the language to explain what they've lost. The system by the numbers. To bring perspective, let's look at some real-world statistics. According to the National Center for Health Statistics, over 1 million people reside in nursing homes in the United States alone. The average stay is 2.5 years. Many residents live their final years inside those walls. A study by the Journal of Gerontology found that over 40% of residents report symptoms of depression or chronic loneliness. Nearly 60% of residents never receive a single personal visitor in any given month. Falls, bed sores, and medication mismanagement remain common issues, especially in underfunded or overcrowded facilities. And yet, 94% of Americans over 65 say they would prefer to age in their own home if possible. So why does the system lead so many elsewhere? Because it's easier to manage people when they're grouped. Because it's harder to build individualized solutions. Because, frankly, society is still learning how to value its elders. And that's why this conversation matters. That's why the Elder Way exists. Final words, a voice for those still undecided. If you're watching this and you've already moved into a nursing home, this message is still for you. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. And you are not powerless. There are still choices you can make. You can speak up. You can write letters. You can talk to your children, to your doctors, to your community. You can become a voice for others still finding theirs. And if you're still at home, still trying to decide, still unsure what the right next step is, I hope this video has helped you slow down, ask deeper questions, and imagine new possibilities. I'm not saying all nursing homes are bad, but I am saying that you deserve the truth before you make that decision. Because I didn't get that chance. And if I had, maybe I would have chosen differently. If this story moved you, or reminded you of someone you love, do this. Don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your family, with your children, with a neighbor, with a church group. Talk about it. Start conversations we've been afraid to have. Because silence protects systems that don't serve us. But truth changes lives. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to The Elder Way. This channel is a home for voices like mine and yours. For wisdom earned through living. For stories that still matter. For aging with strength, dignity, and awareness. Every week, we'll uncover more truths, more solutions, more hope. So stay with us, because the journey isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. This is The Elder Way, and we walk it together.